8-1.
Snowman. Never want to give up a snowman.
You don't.
It's like when you see it on a golf card. Where'd you get this whole snowman? I put up a lot of snowmans.
I was going to say.
I do put up a lot
honestly,
of snowmans.
not the worst hole I've ever had. I can tell you that.
On a par 5, you're feeling great about a snowman.
Yeah.
Too many snowmans on a par 4, though. It's a hard day at the office.
And Nick, you heard that right. Don't you dare isolate that. Couple of programming notes before we get to some Bruins talk here on a Bruins Thursday. It's been a busy, busy day. Big news day. 1A and 1B, apologies to the Bruins, have been Bill Belichick going to the University of North Carolina and the Red Sox swinging a deal for Garrett Crochet. How do you feel about it, and are they done? 2 programming notes for WEEI afternoons. One we were surmising about, and the other we told you about already. Seth Wickersham will be joining WEEI afternoons today at 2:30. His latest is up now on Bill. Basically, the NFL doesn't want him, and Bill's sending the NFL a big FU. He's disgusted with how they've handled it, and he's going to college to prove a point. They'll talk to Wickersham at 2:30. Arcand and Hart will also be taking the Bill Belichick press conference today live at 2 o'clock. So you'll hear Bill Belichick's introductory press conference.
Yeah, see if he sounds any different.
See if he sounds any different, if he's playing the game with the media. Maybe you'll hear Jordan in the middle of that press conference. Yep. Maybe. But you'll get both in the first hour of WEEI afternoon. So I'd be listening live on the Odyssey app. I wouldn't go anywhere. I would stay tuned there right at 2. Listen to Wickersham at 2:30. Good stuff there. Meanwhile, somebody who I don't think ever gets a snowman on the golf course.
No.
And hopefully, I don't think he gave up too many on the ice either, is Andrew Raycroft of Nesson. He's brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. The name to know when your drains don't flow. Any snowmen there, Razor?
Well, I'm talking to you guys right now, so I had I had a few more than I needed to throughout my career. I'd still be playing, but it happens. It happens to everybody. Man, that was ugly the other night.
Okay,
yeah,
it was. You say it happens. It happened to the Bruins and Jeremy Swayman the other night. We went into that game going, okay, it's a good test for the Bruins. They've been winning games under Joe Sacco, but it's been against lesser competition. Here's a good test for them. And they didn't do so hot in that test. What'd you take away from the game?
So, no, you're right. There isn't – listen, I understand that I'm the big homer here. I get it. There is a difference in giving up – like the Carolina game, they gave up 8 goals. That was different than this game in that in Carolina they gave up 6 goals in the first 28 minutes of the game, and it was good night, Irene. This one – they had a pretty good late second period. They cut it to 3-1. I'm not saying they were going to win that game, but it got out of hand late with the fighting and Winnipeg piling on late because they were upset about the fighting, and Swayman gave up a couple ugly ones in the third. My point is it's not the same beatdown that they received a couple of times earlier in the season.
You know, I'm looking through the Andrew Raycroft game logs. I don't see any snowmen.
Nice.
I don't see a single snowman in there. Couple 7s, you know, that's to happen.
Yeah, okay.
But like,
yeah.
how
7-5 games, you're still in it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you got a good
sure.
offense that year.
Yeah, fire wagon hockey. Yeah.
But like, what does that do to a goalie? Like, does Swayman just completely put that behind him, or like, how long are you thinking about 8 goals? I know some were on the power play, but even still, like, you're in net for 8 goals. How quickly can you move on from that?
Yeah, you feel it going into the next game. Certainly, your numbers take a massive beating. Of course, like whatever his number, he was getting his numbers back on track, and then they go all the way kind of back to where they were before the coaching change, and you gotta pile those back up. But essentially, you work. Yesterday's practice probably isn't that much fun. You're like, oh boy, I got to work, and you get over that mentally. And then the next game, you get into it. Okay, I hope I don't give up 3. And I just don't want bad things to happen. I don't want goals to go off my D-man's leg. I don't want to give up a goal from behind the red line. Like, just get back into the rhythm. So typically, it's that first period. You have a good first period in the next game, and all the 8-goal stuff goes away mentally.
After the game, Brad Marchand said you could see this one. I'm paraphrasing, but you could see this one coming. We haven't been practicing well, et cetera, et cetera. I love Marchand. I didn't love that comment, Razor, because you're kind of the one in charge of how the team practices. It's the coach and the captain, right? So what'd you make of those comments?
Well, I think, of course it is. I think you as a coach and a captain, though, you can also try to get everybody on board. I'm sure that practice, Brad Marchand was still competing harder than everybody else. That's what he's done his entire career. But you can't always drag everybody into the fight. And I think those words were more directed at yesterday's practice and today's morning skate and tonight's game. In that, all right, we deserved it. It's not like we felt great going into, or we were doing the right things and we got unlucky. We deserved this one, and we got to get back on track. Again, they had, with the 100th ceremony game on December, that was last Sunday. It was just one of those weeks where you could see something like that catching up. And when you go 7-2 as well, again, part of that honeymoon phase of the coaching where everything just kind of goes right and falls into place. This is a reset.
When we last talked to you, we were talking about the goalie rotation, and since Joe Sacco has taken over, it's been 2 for Swayman, 1 for Korpisalo, 2-1, 2-1. They kind of went away from that, and they went 3 consecutive starts for Swayman. And I know Winnipeg is a good team, and maybe they had that one circled. They wanted to go with their number 1 goalie, even though he's not playing like a number 1 goalie. Do you think we should see more Korpisalo? Because when he's been given a chance, he has played well this year.
Yeah, he's been great. And I think the schedule lines up that we see him, again, once a week for the next 3 weeks. So I would expect him tonight. Again, what's that, 9:30 out there? So
10.
We'll hear in a couple hours.
Late game. 10.
I would believe me. I mean 9:30 in the morning right now. Believe me, I know.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I know you guys. I know you'll be tuned in at 1:30 for
Locked
the
and
post.
loaded.
You know us, Razor. You know us well. Yeah. That's us.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I think we see Korpisalo tonight, and then next week will be interesting if they go to a rotation, right? If he plays in Calgary next week, or if he gets the game at home against Buffalo on the way back. So I'm curious how next week looks, but this week I think you see a rotation and go from there. But certainly with a new coach and a guy who hasn't lost with the new coach against a guy who, if there's another poor outing from Jeremy, I think you can see somewhere in here where, we're going to let Korpisalo's leash extend a little bit.
So we're talking to Andrew Raycroft and Nesson, joining us here on a Bruins Thursday, Jones and Keefe, WEEI. They've already changed their coach. You have to wonder if a hockey trade could be in the cards. I know the deadline is a ways away, but I was reading Greg Wyshynski today, kind of a trade deadline primer or an early deadline primer. He says an NHL executive texted him recently and asked Chris Kreider for Brad Marchand, who says no. And
I mean,
you're already giggling at it, but could they look at the idea of moving Marchand at some point?
I don't see it. I laugh at the. It's just that would be massive. Like that would be the most for that original 6 type trade to each other. That would be something else. So that would certainly be a groundbreaking trade. That's good. Good job by Greg for everyone to read that one, right? I don't see it. I think he's the captain for a reason. He's on Team Canada, 4 Nations. I think there's other pieces that are failing at certain times and probably need to be addressed. But I don't think having Brad not on this roster makes them better in any way. So again, if they were they had no chance of making the playoffs, full rebuild, I would be maybe I'd go along with it, but not in the scenario that they think they can win. You want Brad Marchand on your team.
As an aside, does Chris Kreider get traded this year? Because I've seen hockey writers very split on it. Some are like, "There's no way the Rangers trade him," and others are like, "Yeah, he's probably gone."
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know those guys well enough. I know Chris Kreider's numbers going to the rafters in New York. So, but they've gassed Henrik Lundqvist too. Like the New York Rangers, they just traded their captain away. They're in trouble. So, the Bruins that look like they've gone undefeated this season compared to the Rangers right now. My guess is Kreider doesn't go anywhere. But again, that would be because it would just be such a massive trade. We haven't seen these trades, guys. I guess that's where I go to. Like, I don't remember a big name superstar getting traded for another superstar in forever in this league, and that's why I guess I'm a little skeptical. It does sound fun and exciting, but I just don't know if GMs really have the guts to pull those kinds of things off right now.
Okay, he's Andrew Raycroft of Nesson. You can check him out tonight, late one, in Seattle against the Kraken. You can check out his work on Twitter at Andrew Raycroft. Razor, we appreciate the time every Bruins Thursday. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Razor.
All right, Andrew Raycroft joining us here.
Yeah, you
on
got to
Jones
stay
and
up late.
Keefe on WEEI. It is a late one.
10 tonight, 10 Saturday, and then back-to-back 9s. Well, last night was 8, so 8 you sort of like ease into it, and then just late.
I like how he says Calgary.
Calgary.
I got to work on that.
You'll get there.
I got to work on that.
You'll get that. That's when the guys who know puck say Calgary.
Yeah, well, Canadians. Yeah,
That's right. Well, they know puck.
Yeah, no, it's true. No snowmen for Razor.
Not that I could find. I was doing a quick run-through of his game logs. A few touchdowns with the extra point, but no snowmans.
Few touchdowns
Yep.
and then some with the extra point.
Correct.
But no snowmen.
Yeah, I didn't see any.
All right, good for him. I mean, it's sort of a, hey, I never did that. Sort of humble brag there.
Pretty good.
Again, I know I've been guilty of a few too many of those on the golf course.
You're talking about the Calder winner from 04.
He probably didn't do it here. Exactly. Won the Calder.
Yeah,
Won the
true.
Calder.